I don't know about you guys, but I was heavily influenced by the very first Black Ops. Like the original, the best one. Will never be another one like the original Call of Duty Black Ops. That game had some pretty iconic guns, even though maybe the naming was a little off on some of them. They really stuck in our brains, man. I mean, I'm talking things like the AK-74U, the Galil, but I think there's one gun that really reigns supreme from that game that we all really, really love, and that was the Commando. The Commando is kind of based off like a Colt 733, but the timing's a little weird because in the game it's a flat top, and at the time of the Cold War there really weren't flat tops, so it would have had a carry handle, probably an A1, maybe an A2 is kind of pushing it, but in the game they chose to do a flat top upper with a flip up rear iron sight. But I think the most iconic thing about the Commando was the way they had the sling wrapped around the gun. Didn't really make a lot of sense, but damn it, it looked cool. So today, we tried to make our own Commando. It's really not that close to the original Commando, but it gives me all the warm and fuzzies from the original Black Ops, and I love it, man. I think the first thing you're going to notice right away is it's not a short. If I would have gone as short as the original Commando, would have been an SBR, and no one wants to pay that tax stamp and wait all that time, so we love dissipators on this channel. Absolutely love, love, love dissipators. So we did a Black Ops themed dissipator Commando. We did the wrap, we did the flat top upper, standard front sight post, and in the game, okay, I'm going to interject a picture right here. In the game, a very popular optic was the Reflex Sight. Now the Reflex Sight on the Commando with the wrap, I think, was just one of the coolest guns in the game, and I love AKs, I do. I loved the Galil in that game in particular, but something about the Commando in Black Ops 1 with a Reflex Sight was kind of unstoppable. I mean, let me know in the comments if you disagree, but that was pretty unstoppable, especially with a suppressor, which we will get to. The biggest part of this build, which is really what made me want to put this thing together, was Jmac Customs. They made a forged AR-15 lower. You can see the Jmac logo there. We're trying to be cool, so we're covering it up a little bit with the wrap, but that's actually a Jmac produced in their own machine shop forged lower. Standard ass parts kit, standard ass buffer tube, all that's pretty standard, but where the magic really happens, we have a Car 15 stock. This is a real Colt surplus polymer Car 15 stock. Got a little bit of goon tape on there. The pistol grip was a standard A2 pistol grip. It had the big finger hump. We did a little bit of a field mod, cut that finger groove off, wrapped it up with goon tape, and actually ended up with a pretty comfortable grip. The only other thing that wasn't super standard on the lower parts kit, I had this sitting in a box, so I said screw it, we'll put it in. It's a titanium mag release. Who cares, right? But it's there. Standard trigger, standard safety, standard bolt catch, all that is bone stock, T-handle, totally standard. Nickel boron bolt, I literally just took that out of my other dissipator because I wanted to put this thing together as cheaply as possible and not have to buy a bunch of parts. We have a Trijicon RX-01 Reflex Sight. These things are starting to be phased out. They're getting kind of hard to find. Everywhere that you see these things sold new, they're sold out. The bases for them are sold out. They're kind of hard to find. I got lucky, and these things were actually available on Amazon not too long ago, new with the base for pretty cheap. And you can actually buy like police trade-ins that might need the tritium recharged, but very cool, retro, very good looking optic, and I'll roll some B-roll here so you can just see how clear and cool that 6 MOA amber dot is. Check that out. And looks exactly like the Reflex Sights that you would have seen on the gun in the game. Tiny little subtle differences, but this is really what the game was trying to go after. This would have been an optic that they were, copying. Now the upper is a Palmetto State Armory dissipator upper. Remember, cheap, cheap, cheap. We wanted to put this thing together for super cheap. The upper I got from PSA, I think it was like 400 bucks. This, I believe, is a carbine length, so I'm kind of curious to see how it feels. And it's got a really weird profile to the barrel, but it doesn't matter. It's going to shoot, it's going to put holes in paper. That's fine, and you can't see it anyway. The clamshells they come with are those really fat, weird-looking ones that don't even look like A2 handguards. They're not as thin. So I got some surplus A2 upper and lower handguards, and these are way better. They look way better, they feel way better, but, probably the one reason we all remember the Commando. The way that sling was wrapped was just pretty dang cool, even though it's completely impractical. If you do wrap it properly, it is going to cover up the breech just a little bit. It will still eject just fine. They may not fly out as far, but they will get out of there. And the can's definitely going to help that. A sling that I found worked really, really good. You probably never heard of this company. They're called Hub City Outdoors. What makes Hub City so cool, familiar with like standard AK slings and standard Chinese chest rigs? A little bit like this, but you know, the surplus stuff. He actually reuses the hardware from all that stuff. So this is a fully adjustable sling. That's your little tensioner there. You can pull it and loosen it, just like a Vickers Blue Force Gear sling. Now I found that it had just the right D-ring. It was the perfect length on a full-length rifled sight radius. If you look at the picture of the Commando in the game, you'll notice that the sling actually does this little loop around the handguard, and then it backtracks up over the rear sight and comes back across. And it does the same thing whether you're having the iron sight or the reflex sight on top. The sling really makes it, man. Everything else you can kind of pick and choose. If you want to do like the short one, like a real Colt Commando, it's going to look better, but you need that flat top and you need the flip up Troy rear iron sight. I preferred this because I had it, and honestly it looks exactly like the reflex from the game. There it is. I'll leave a link down below to some of the things here, some of the things that you can find. Really guys, if you want this sling, this is probably the coolest thing on this build, as it were. Hub City Outdoors. Go find them on Instagram. Go find them online. It's pretty freaking cool. Let's do a bit more shooting and then we'll get out of here. Alright guys, if you like this kind of content, you know what to do. Subscribe or not, doesn't matter. Thanks for watching, even if you're not subscribed. Leave us a comment, leave us a like below. Go find us on Instagram at Clicko47. You can also go to Facebook. Same name everywhere you look. This was a breath of fresh air. It's kind of cool to take a step back from AKs from time to time and get in a time machine and go back to when I was drinking sodas, sitting in a beanbag playing Call of Duty, man. Those were the friggin' days, and Black Ops was the best Call of Duty ever. And I don't think it's ever going to be topped, man. Cold War guns. It doesn't get any better. We'll see you next time.